Hey everyone, John here with Photography Life, and today I'm going to show you a neat little feature that's kind of hidden in Lightroom, and it's going to help you better and more easily remove spots in your photos. Now, it mainly is going to pertain to spots caused by sensor dust, and if you're a landscape photographer or shoot at smaller apertures, that is something you are probably constantly fighting. Now, it's really easy to see sensor dust spots in lots of photos, especially if it has a clear blue sky like this particular image here, but sometimes it's not so easy to see, and this trick will make it just a little bit easier for you to get those spots out of your images. So let's jump over here into Lightroom, and what we're going to do is we're going to go here into the spot removal tool, and you're going to use this if you want to get rid of these spots. And like I said, in this particular image, there's some really easy to see ones here. You can see I obviously had a little dust on my sensor, but I might be missing a few as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to this visualize spots box and check it. And what happens is our image completely changes. Now you don't need to worry, this doesn't affect your image at all. So you can mess with the slider all you want. Once you uncheck this, your image is back to normal. Nothing is getting affected as far as your final image goes. But this makes it easier to see these spots in the sky. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you go to the left, it makes it less sensitive. That's not what we want. We want to go to the right to make it more sensitive. And look at all those little spots that just appeared in the sky here. Now, if I uncheck this, oops, you can see it's a clear day. There's not a cloud in the sky. So every single little one of those spots is probably something that was some dust on my sensor, or maybe some pollen in the air or something like that. The one thing I do want to point out, let's go back in here, is if I zoom in on, let's say, this little cluster over here, and go ahead and turn off this visualization, you really can't see much in the actual photo. I can see this big one here, and there might be something else in there, but when I go in here to visualize, and actually even when I zoomed in, some of those disappeared. If I zoom back out, you could see it looked like there was a lot more than there actually was, but when I zoom in, some of them kind of disappeared, and we can really just see this one. Now, I'm going to zoom back out, and let's just go through. I can go ahead and click on this, and that's going to get rid of that. So even though I did it in the visualize spots screen, when I go over here to the regular screen, it disappears as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go back in here, and we can use this to quickly and easily get rid of some of these spots that are caused by sensor dust, by something in the air. You know, you don't even have to worry about where you're clicking. You don't have to hunt around for them like you do when it's this blue sky. And once I feel like I've got them all, I can go uncheck it, I can get out of the tool, and just like that, all my spots are gone. Now this image is really easy to use because it has a completely blue sky, there's no clouds, there's nothing that is really distracting. But what happens when we go over here to this other image that has a little more going on? Now I can see if I zoom in, I've got one spot here, and if I were to look a little harder, I could probably pick out a few more. But I'm going to go ahead and go right into the spot removal tool. I hit Q on my keyboard, that's the shortcut, and I'm going to go down here to visualize the spots. And you can see it's not nearly as obvious when I have clouds and other things like that going on here in the sky. It doesn't really stand out, and I have the sensitivity turned way up, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Again, we still have the clouds that we're dealing with, but I think if I use this, then we've got this obvious one here, but I'm going to look here, I'm going to look up here, and I'm going to look over here and see what those look like in the normal image. So if we zoom in here, then obviously we do have this one that we want to remove. I'm going to turn my feather down just a bit, and let's just punch that spot out of there. Now there was another one over here, kind of hidden in the clouds, and actually I can see this one that didn't really show up very well in the visualization. I want it to look right here, and you know, I don't think there's anything there I need to worry about. That though is a spot. So you can see it doesn't always work. Sometimes just using your eyes is a better option. And then there was one up top here. Let's jump back into the visualization. And yeah, I think that's a dark little spot there I want to get rid of. So you can see it's one of those things that it definitely helps, especially when you have a clear sky. But when you have clouds in the sky, it's going to make things a little more tricky to spot those dots that you want to get rid of. Let's check out this one, see what that looks like. And again, that's probably a little dark spot, definitely some sensor dust there, but ultimately not something that would really affect my final image. Pretty hard to see. And then you'll probably want to do a once over without that visualization turned on, just to kind of see what's going on here in the sky. But looks like we got it pretty much taken care of here. Zoom back out, get out of the tool, and sensor dust is taken care of. Image is cleaned up. When you zoom in 1:1, you're not going to see any of those dark spots in your sky. Now, of course, the best way to keep spots off of your photos is to not have sensor dust in the first place. But let's face it, that's pretty much impossible. If you're out in nature, wind blows, you change lenses, things, pollen, dust, things like that are going to get into your camera. You're going to end up with some little specks on your final images, and using that visualize spots option within the spot removal tool is a great way to make sure you get all of those little spots taken care of. And that's pretty much all there is for today. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Also, head on over to photographylife.com and check out more photography tips, tricks, and educational materials, and we'll see you next time.